Привет, друзья! Today I will prove to you that Russian isn't as difficult as you might think. And today you will get a few steps closer to thinking like a Russian native. That's the hardest thing in any language, is to start thinking like a native in that language. But today, with just two simple rules, you will start to think like a Russian native when it comes to verbs. And for us to do that, I have my tea right here, my cup of tea. In English, when talking about drinking tea, right? I can say, I drink tea every day. I'm drinking tea right now. I have been drinking tea since I was little. Or I haven't been drinking tea for 2 weeks. Those four different tenses are all for present tense. We have the same four for the past and for the future. In English, we have 12 tenses. In Russian, we only have 5. And so we have to transfer our logic from 12 tenses to just 5 in Russian. What's the best way for us to do that? Again, two rules. Number one, for present tense, we only have one form of the verb, which is present tense conjugation. For example, let's again compare English to Russian. I drink tea every day. Я пью чай каждый день. I'm drinking tea right now. Я пью чай сейчас. I have been drinking tea since I was little. Я пью чай с детства. As you can see, on this side is the same exact form. Я пью чай. It doesn't change. Even though in English, it does change. Right? We have one for I drink, I do something every day. One for I do something right now. Third, I'm doing something for a long time. In Russian, it will stay within the same exact form. It doesn't change whatsoever. If the action is happening in the present tense, we only have one form for that. And the only rule that you have to learn for you to use present tense is present tense conjugation. How a verb would change from пить to пью, like we saw with the sentences, right? How this change happens. That's the only rule that you must learn for you to talk about present tense successfully. And of course, we teach present tense on our BeFluent class platform. You can check it out with the first link in the description. It's a lot of great resources there, courses, Russian content, exercises, all of that to help you speak Russian better to your friends, to your family, without making that much mistakes, to finally speak freely to those you love. We help you do that with the class. You can check it out with the first link in the description. Back to present tense. So let me put this tea away because it's kind of hot. It's making me a bit hot. You only have to learn present tense conjugation for all present tense sentences. Simply how verbs change for present, and that is it. All of the present tense sentences you can now describe. Yes, it's not going to have as much variety as in English, but that's how a Russian would think about present tense. We don't care about whether it's happening now, every day, for the past 6 months. It doesn't matter to a Russian brain. Okay? That's rule number one. Rule number two is for past and future. I'm sure that you know the difference between the two. Each of them has two variations. If present had only one, these have two: perfective and imperfective. So past perfective, past imperfective, same for future. And that's where we get our 5 tenses from. 2 for future, 2 for past, 1 for present. Only 5. And if you understand the difference between perfective and imperfective, you can now start making sentences with ease, just like a Russian would make them. So only these 2 variations for past and for present. What is the difference between them? I want you guys to think of imperfective as process and perfective as outcome. Imperfective sentences focus on the process of the action, while perfective sentences focus on the outcome of the same exact action. For example, without any Russian, in English, if I said, I was making dinner all evening, what is the focus of this sentence? Is the outcome of the action the focus, or the process itself? For this sentence, the process matters, not the outcome. We don't know if we are done cooking, if we have a successful meal made. We don't know that. We simply focus on the process. This sentence would be imperfective in Russian, because imperfective talks about the process. In Russian, this would be Я готовил весь вечер. Готовил is an imperfective verb. If I change it now, I cooked a beautiful lasagna. What is more important here, the outcome or the process? With this sentence, the outcome matters. I cooked lasagna. Lasagna is my finished product. The action is done. This is the outcome of the action. All right? The process here doesn't play any role. We don't care if I was cooking it for a day, for 2 days, what kind of lasagna I made. It doesn't matter. The process doesn't matter. This sentence would be perfective in Russian. In Russian, I would say Я приготовил отличную лазанью. Приготовил here is perfective verb. Okay? Now, to go back to past and future. I hope that the distinction between the two makes sense. Perfective, imperfective, all of that. That is the only two things you have to think about when making a sentence. It should be like this. First, okay, is it past, present, or future? Okay, if it's past, is it perfective or imperfective? If it's present, it's easy, it's one form. If it's future, is it perfective or imperfective? Again. And that is all you have to think about. Don't overcomplicate the sentence with your English logic. We only care about those two things. And that is all. That's all that we as Russians think about when making a sentence. The only two things that you might need to learn if you don't know it yet is present tense conjugation, past tense, future tense conjugation, and then some aspects. You can learn all of those things with BFluent class right here. And of course, learn how to speak Russian more freely to your friends and family, have more fun speaking Russian. Or this next video will talk about the future tense. Choose the one that you prefer.